Vamos sair aqui, vamos entrando no live.
This is it. Hello, guys.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Frankie. Hello, Chris.
Hey.
I'm Felipe, guys. I'm going to be conducting some of the few questions tonight with these two guys, these two amazing producers and DJs that we all know, 20 plus years working the marketing and being referenced. So I'll be checking all the comments as well, and I'll be interacting with all you guys live, ok? E para os brasileiros também, já avisando para colocar aí tem logo no canto inferior direito, no Zoom, tem um ícone de interpretation, né? É só ir lá e ativar as legendas em português. Ok, cool. Let's keep it going, guys. Frankie?
Yes.
Chris, can you hear me?
We do hear you.
Okay, cool, great. So guys, before we started, we were just talking about the things we're gonna go through in the talk before. And as I was saying, one of the main things that I think the kids out there would love to start asking, to start this whole live and interaction with you guys. And this is something that I have been, questioning for so many years, is probably the inspirational process of your productions and how the kids out there, the whole process works and how it takes place. To start this whole live and interaction with you guys. And this is something that I have been, questioning.
Okay, I hear another voice.
Probably the inspirational process of your production.
Okay, so I have a feedback here, but can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear clearly.
Okay, so I'm going to start talking about it. So yeah, in this masterclass, actually about this question, we actually spent quite a while also talking about this, because we think, in many tutorials or masterclasses, it's never really spoken about, and it's such an important part of the music creation process to look where to get your inspirations from, and not just so that you not become just like let's look for some accident, maybe lucky day where I find a nice preset that I like or something. So it's about really that you maybe already get into the studio with an idea, and then of course it's the questions where you can find these kind of ideas, because and it's basically actually all a question about paying attention to everything else that goes on in your life. It can of course be personal experiences or feelings, but also if you hear some kind of music, no matter what music it is, and it somehow triggers a specific feeling in you, then you have to just pay attention to that moment and try to save this moment in your head, and then maybe later try to analyze why this feeling actually happened inside you, what was the source of this feeling, and then maybe this can be an inspiration when you get in the studio to not copy the music that you heard, but to try to recreate that feeling that you felt actually, and try to find maybe another way to get to that feeling, because somehow it was important to you and it did something with you. And these small moments can be really important, and it's a lot about paying attention to these details, what happens to you when you have whatever experience in your life, or you listen to music, or whatever triggers your emotional world somehow. You have to save these moments and try to put them into the music somehow.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think the main reason why I'm saying this is because your music is not really mechanical. It's not really, that 1, 2, 3 thing that not mentioning artists far away from that, but there are a lot of artists out there that when they get to a moment in their careers, I think the production level starts to park. And I think you guys, even though you've been on the road and everything happening around you, I think you guys were able to keep it happening and keeping it real for so many years, and over the last few years, you know what I mean? So I think that one of the reasons why I'm saying and I'm asking this is because you can realize that D-Nox and Beckers is the kind of music that is made with inspiration, you know, and I think all of us would love to hear more about how you both interact and how you come up with ideas. I mean, it's a project that takes two people, two brains working on the same idea. So I think in some ways there's a big advantage, but sometimes that might be a bit of a challenge as well. You know, so I guess we would all love to hear more and more about the whole connection between D-Nox and Beckers.
Well, there's also the aspect that we love music too much, right? And many times we really sit before we start making music and listen to what has been released during the previous weeks. We talk about our experiences in clubs and festivals, playing, listening to other artists, but also music that comes from the radio. For example, when I have to drive to the studio, I used to live not far from Becker City.
Yep.
And that hour already in the car gave me time to think about the whole process, where I was going to enter. Many times he or I had an idea of some melody that somehow got stored in my memory. But also, I wanted to say, since we love music so much, and sometimes we don't take it that far, not even us two in the studio, that when I look back on all the tracks where we maybe didn't go that far, are the tracks that I like less. Now, when I look back, there are some tracks that I said, man, why we didn't go that far as we did in other tracks, to leave our boundaries and to go that step that you just said, you know, not to park in one level.
Yeah.
Really challenge, get the melody right, get the sounds right, and instead of making it too fast. And then I listened to those tracks today and say, we didn't. That is not the one. But then there are other ones, like the one we listened before in the live sequence from the Berlin rooftop serenade, is a melody that I can, even now 5 years later, it still touches me. And then I can say,
I remember this track. It's a classical one.
It's really that thing for producers. It's easier when you do it together because you have two brains, as you said before. But I would recommend everyone to challenge themselves and go the next step. And don't make a copy of what is there already, what has been copied a million times before. Don't take the same loop. Don't take the same vocal, the same bass line. Try, because it's also good for yourself in the studio to be challenged and to explore how far you can go.
Yeah. I mean, there's talking about the whole city and parking and you know, copying what other people are doing process. And I think there's a lot of expectations out there. There's a lot of young producers these days that, you know, there is a love for the music, but there's also the whole thing of like getting big. You know what I mean? And sometimes they end up forgetting what this is really about. You know, this is really about music and making the music that are gonna touch people's heart. Period. You know.
And now we have a pandemic. We are 7 months. We are 7 months without parties, and all of a sudden, this whole thing doesn't matter anymore. Be famous within a couple of months. Make this thing. Now it's the time, you know, for everyone out there, even for me, for Frankie, for you, to discover and go that next step. And well, also to study and get into a masterclass or to check things of others. There's so many things that we can do right now. It's the best time.
Yeah, I think the time the word for the moment is reinvention. You know, and I think to reinvent ourselves, and I've seen these in documentaries about music and artists, and you know, it's much harder to reinvent ourselves when we don't have a bigger challenge or a suffering or a painful process that's gonna, you know, take us somewhere and give us inspiration to start something, to pursue something, and to go ahead and you know, and like fight for what we really want. So I think, you know, we are investing in education right now. And I think a lot of people out there are willing to like go and and have a look of what this is about, and see how the D-Nox Beckers actually go through a track, and how is the process of creation of the track. And as you guys been talking about the whole inspirational process, as I was going to, the next thing that I was going to ask was about the process of creation, but Chris has already said that the process of creation starts in his car. It used to start back in these days in his car, driving all the way to the studio. It probably happens in the airplane while he's traveling, while he's flying all the way to Germany. So I think it's about adapting and adjusting. And I think education and knowledge come as very powerful tools and weapons to back this all up.
Yeah, and also what you said before, like the producers are trying to get to the next step and trying to become better producer. There's sometimes the misunderstanding that many people believe this becoming a better producer is like, my sound is getting more sounding good, more fat or whatever. It's going to sound more big in the club. But that's what you sometimes think is a good producer. But it's actually also a lot about, that's where we try also to get the focus on in this masterclass, that you should try to make better music, not to only sound better, And it's important also, how you think about music, and that you really like things in your production process that you always are routines sometimes, even without realizing that you always question everything and try to improve the music, and not only the sound and what EQ, what plugin I'm going to use. It's a lot about music and not only making things sound good. That's just one part of it.
Yes, I mean, you just said something that is quite an issue out there, and a lot of people, discuss what's the best plugin, what's the best VST, and to get sample packs and whatnot, and to get a synthesizer. And I'm saying this as someone that comes from a country, like, for example, for us Brazilians, it's really, really hard to buy hardware. It's practically impossible for the mid class, and so we have to work around what we can get hands on. So like plugins and the whole, and this is something that I know that we're gonna get on with the debate about the how to actually make music without spending millions. And this is something that I was able to see in the course, having a look last night. I saw a lot of plugins that we see out there a lot, and are not necessarily like a fortune. And I saw a lot of them being used within the track, within a D-Nox Beckers track. So and it's a great example of how, if you guys can do it, we can do it as well. Maybe it's about the guidance that we're gonna get, and that we are able to get with the course and the masterclass, for example. But if you guys, I think the big picture is, if you guys can do it, we can also do it as well. And this is something that I found great when I was looking at the material.
Thanks, man.
And go ahead.
That was exactly the idea for me to fly to Germany in June and to record this masterclass. Of course, we were a bit handicapped. We didn't have jobs, didn't have gigs to play, and we were starting to think what we could do. And Frankie, he actually is a teacher for music, but also for mathematics. He has a diploma, and he was at the point where he was going to say, man, it looks like if the gigs don't come back, I maybe have to go back to school and teach. And then I told him, before you do that, why don't we teach students out there how to produce music the way we did or do during the last years, our experience, give the whole thing to the people. And this is how we came to this point to record this masterclass. And to show everyone, as you just said before, it is possible to get into it, use the time right. You don't need big gear, you don't need analog gear, you don't need nothing, just headphone and the computer actually, and the software.
And the software. And just to add to that before we get into the whole nerd debate, when I don't think, there's a lot of us that know that it would be virtually impossible to have a masterclass with D-Nox Beckers if this whole pandemic thing didn't happen. This is a fact, Yeah. You guys would have been busy. Us promoters and producers of parties and festivals would have been busy. And this whole moment maybe wouldn't be happening right now. So I think this is a blessing, not the pandemic, far away from that. But I think to have this opportunity of learning from you guys, it's really a blessing, to be able to actually go there and do it. And I think it's really a blessing. And for us, it's really a lucky shot. And for you guys, I think it's a blessing to be able to share knowledge out there, and maybe in a few months start realizing, the achievements that your time and your efforts have being able to reach. I think this is the most important part here. As we said, we are investing in education, and education is like knowledge is one of the most powerful tools that the human being can possess.
As you said, it really was when Chris came over and had the idea to do this. It was also like, man, it's going to be a lot of work, because it was clear that if we're going to do this, the only way to do it is really to make it as good as possible. That is always the goal. And honestly, it was to get there that we're now really happy with the result. It was actually way more work than we ever expected also. But but somehow it really feels good that we climbed that hill and now have something that we are kind of proud of, honestly, yeah.
I have to say, though, it really felt natural, And I mean, I'm not saying this to sell the course out to kids. Yeah. So it's something that I had the impression that I had since the beginning until the moment I stopped, which was within the production parts of the masterclass. So I really felt that it was natural. It didn't feel tiring. It was clear. It was. So I think in the end, that's the biggest legacy that we can live out there, is that you guys are doing that, and it's natural. It's from the heart. So I think that's the most important part. So I guess now we can jump into more specific terms and things within the production process and parts. And, I'll let you guys move on with it and show us a little bit of what we can do and how we can do it.
Yeah, all right. So, as we already talked a little bit about it, actually during the masterclass, where we show like the production from almost beginning to the end from a whole track that we came up with. And but it's there are a few like plugins, other VST synths that we bought, that we used here and there. But also, we want to also send the message that it's actually really possible, as Chris said, with just a computer, a laptop, and the Ableton Live software. That's actually enough, and you can get the same results as somebody with a really expensive studio, I think. And that's why, I want to show some little stuff about the Ableton software and try to put the focus a little bit on the inside synths and plugins we have, because they are, I think, way more powerful than they actually look like on the first look, honestly. So
I mean, it always needs a tweak around to make things, punchy and the way they should sound. But I think, this is one of the moments where we're gonna open the Pandora box and see how it's done.
Yeah, and it's also like, I mean, even now that me using this software since, I don't know, ages, it's still that almost every week I learn something new, I think, what I can do actually, because it's, as you said, it's like a Pandora box, and the possibilities are endless actually.
No, I have to say, Frankie, I have been a Logic guy ever since I've done my SAE course, my audio engineering course at SAE. But my wife is trying to produce on Ableton, and she has it on the computer. So I've been kind of like flirting around with it. But over the last few weeks, it has just been like intensely overwhelming for me to realize how much more intuitive Ableton might actually be
Yeah.
You know. So, and yesterday I was watching the classes and I opened the Ableton as well, and I was looking some of this stuff, and it's so much harder to do it on Logic, for example, for me, for example, that, not going around with the Logic versus Ableton debate now, what is what, but personally, I just felt that, there's some really like easy and clear stuff that you can do with Ableton as well. So like it really got me curious. So I think you guys got it really, really clear to some extent.
I mean, I have to say also, I started back in the days also on Cubase, and it took me a while to push myself to change, because honestly, the thing is, it looks so stripped down, kind of simple now compared to Logic or Cubase, which somehow just from the visual looks more expensive or whatever. But then in the beginning, when I switched, of course, I didn't know everything of what was going on, and here and there I had to look things up. How is this going to work? How is this working? And I have to say, in every single case, when I had a problem, how to do something, it was always the most easy, simple solution. And that's the thing about Ableton. It's really easy. And I think even people that really don't know really much about production or music at all, they can get something out of this software. If you give somebody who doesn't know anything like Ableton or like Logic or Cubase, it's quite difficult to get into this. But with Ableton, it's a different story.
The solution is so easy that you actually don't think that is the solution. It's like, it can't be.
Yeah. So let me actually try to show a few things. I'll try to share my Ableton stream here. Let me see how this works. So, can you see my Ableton? You see it?
Yep.
Good. You see the audio stuff is okay. Looks good. Do you hear something when I press headphones?
Yes. Zap powered.
So, as I said, what I want to show is the inside Ableton synths. I actually only use a few, but they are already that powerful. When you go to the Ableton instruments here, for example, the thing that we mainly use when we use is the operator. That's a really powerful synth. It's actually a few synths combined in one. Of course, the simpler, which is like the basic sampler version, but it's not that basic as you think. And
just a quick and maybe naive question for some: is Operator a native plugin of Ableton?
Yes, it's like the basic synth for actually everything in Ableton.
And it's native. Yeah. It comes with the software.
It comes with the software. Exactly. All these instruments that you can see here now, these are all Ableton intern instruments actually.
Okay, great.
So let me show.
Let me say something. This demonstration is for all the people that have just Ableton at home and don't have any access to any other plugin. When you buy Ableton 10, you get it the way it is here now, with those internal synthesizers, instruments, samplers, drum computers. Okay, and we're making a demonstration for only Ableton in-house instruments.
Yep. Only native instruments, so you don't have to worry about spending money with, gear or plugins for now.
Exactly.
So yeah, I want to show a little bit how powerful these synths actually are, and of course I'm also just in my home studio, not my proper studio. I'm going to do it quite quick, and it's not going to be perfect, but it will show how much you can do with it. So when you see just the look of this synth, I have to say also in the beginning when I switched to Ableton, it looks a little bit like nothing, and I didn't really spend much attention to it. And it's also, if you don't know the tricks, it's a little bit difficult to understand. But the thing is, it's not just the synthesizer. If you go on this general button here, on this knobs down here,
the color, the four color, yeah.
You get this general settings here, and you have a lot of this kind of color combinations here, and it looks almost just like I don't know,
it looks like Tetris
design. But the thing is, each combination of this is like a different synth. It's about the 4 oscillators you have here, or they call it operators, but it's the same. And it's like how they interact with each other. Usually it comes on default in this setting. This means it's like a frequency modulation synthesizer. That means the first one is modulating the second one, this one is modulating this one, but you only hear the last oscillator, but the other ones are only modulating it. But that's different stories. We want to not talk about this. We want to have like a normal synthesizer as we know it, let's say, like a subtractive synthesizer, you say. Therefore, you go in this last mode here. It means every oscillator is acting separate as its own, like most the synthesizers do actually. So if you open it like just simple as it comes, it has like one oscillator already going on here with a simple sine wave. I want to show, I think, does it play already? Let me see. So that's a sine wave. Sine wave you see here, it actually has only all the focus on one frequency. It doesn't have any overtones or harmonics actually like any other waveform. It's the only waveform that has just this one frequency. But I want to show actually now here quickly that you can use this also, for example, making drum sounds, making a kick drum. And a kick drum is basically also nothing else than a sine wave and some noise for the attack. That's it. Just need to know how. So let me quickly show you. So this is the oscillator we hear now here, this A down here.
A yellow and B in green. Yep.
B we don't hear now because the level is down so far. And we're going to put this on fixed frequencies. So that means no matter what note you're going to play, it's always on the frequency you put on this here.
Okay.
Because the kick drum, you don't need to pitch in different keys. So we want to have it somewhere down here. It's going to be a kick drum. Then you have the envelope here for the amplifier, and of course a kick drum is way shorter. So we're going to do it a little bit like this.
Okay.
This is maybe the length of a kick drum, but that's of course still doesn't have any punch or something. So usually all the kick drums that are generated by sine waves, they have a pitch envelope that controls the pitch of this sine wave. If you click this pitch envelope, then it's also showing up here, the envelope. And you see, you put this point here, it's going to show where on the pitch the wave is going to start. And then it's going down quickly. So then I'm going to put this envelope up here, and then you're going to hear how it switches down, no longer. But also this one, we don't need that long, somewhere around here. And of course, this is now way too high also, as we can hear. And then this multiplier gets an octave down, and then
So you're putting an octave down?
Yeah, to get in the right area, in this
area in the right frequency range.
Where a kick drum usually sits.
The right frequency range.
Would be maybe somewhere around here. So, but now it's still missing like the punch. So we take the second oscillator for that and use some noise here. You have like here are all the oscillators you can choose that you have from saw, square, but there's also like white noise, which is basically all the frequencies at once. And of course, when I put this now louder, it sounds quite weird because it's just noise. But if you make this really short, then it's just going to be a clicky attack like this. It's still a little bit too high, but we also have the filter here, of course. You can take this a little bit down. So you're getting already like something like a kick drum.
Yeah, the punch, it sounds like the punch wants to come out.
Can you, up to taste, you can experiment a lot here, but I will keep it quick. Also, I always like to have this EQ8 open here because it has a quite good frequency analyzer. I like it actually more than from any other company, just to see what's going on. You can see that in this really low frequencies, below 30 hertz, there's still a lot going on, and nobody needs that. So we're gonna EQ this like a little bit. Gonna cut somewhere.
Okay, so you cut below 30 hertz?
Yeah, something like that. Push also the cut off frequency a little bit. Something like that.
Okay.
then the problem is that's with a lot of synthesizer that the attack of the transient, so make just like a kick drum here, fall to the floor, is always a little bit different, as you can hear now. So listen to it. If you can hear, like, the click is always changing a little bit.
Yes.
But what I like to do, and that's also like a really quick thing that I like about Ableton, I can now just go to freeze this track, and then you put flatten it, and then you have already the audio here. Then
so you basically just bounce you bounce from MIDI into audio file.
Exactly.
Okay.
This is still also not the perfect kick drum. It can be better, of course, but then you play it, and then you just choose one that you actually like. So I make just a short loop for one kick drum, and I check and of course, see the attack changes a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep it with this one. And then maybe I would still, when I have it in audio, I would still open maybe another EQ8 just to check what's going on. You can, for example, see maybe, I don't know, it's a little bit this one here. Then you can EQ it however you like. Actually, one thing I forgot, actually, let me make it back just a sec, because it still didn't sound like I wanted, because one important thing I actually forgot. So here we are. We have the filter in Ableton. It's not only the filter of the synthesizer, also in the auto filter plugin that has quite a good sound. In all the filters that are used in the internal Ableton stuff, you have different filter modes. It's usually default is the clean one, but all the other ones, they have the option of a distortion. So I take like another one. The distortion is actually here. That's a little bit weird that it's hidden.
OSR.
Yes, OSR. You can also try the other ones. They all sound a little bit different. But yeah, just try one now. And then I'm going to drive this one a little bit. You see, it gets much more round and fat.
Okay.
Distortion. Feel the clip kind of weird, but now do this what I did before, fast. Bounce it in place, flatten it, and here we go again. Let's choose. The second one was all right. And then, yeah, we have a kick drum.
This is using roughly 2 oscillators.
It's actually only 2 oscillators. Yeah, you can experiment also with the second oscillator. You can also take another waveform. It doesn't have to be white noise. You can take all kinds of things. Only the imagination is the limit for the attack. It can also be.
Look,
like
I have to say, Frank, I was looking at the whole process, and the only thing that I ever used an oscillator to create something electronic music was this time that I was at the university, and there was this SSL analog desk with all those valves and everything. So there was an oscillator there. And I remember us doing something with the oscillator around 60 to 80 hertz. And that created sort of like a wave that it was like a sub bass.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And that was the only thing I remember us bouncing, like using the, but you know, I could never imagine such a punchy kick being made on Ableton like really easy and like, okay, give it a few minutes. Of course,
it's not yet compressed or anything. You know, I didn't do anything with this.
Yeah. Just messing around with the frequencies and with the oscillators, really, and with a native plugin.
What you just said about the bass, you know, I can show this also very quickly with the operator. I open another one in another MIDI channel. As I said, the sine wave is already preset. You listen it. But as I said, for bass, it's really nice to have this sine sub, but it's missing some overtones that you actually also can hear it on maybe smaller speaker or everything. So I'm just going to introduce a second oscillator here, which I'm going to take not a sine, something more like a saw that has more overtones. And I'm just going to add it actually here. So when I play a lower note.
Volume.
No, comes through, and we have some mid frequencies, which you also can see here in the spectrum. So there's much more going on.
Okay. Yeah, it's really high. It gets really high around, I don't know, maybe 70 to 90 hertz, I would say.
Yeah. This one is really low here, but you have also a little bit in the 100 to 200 hertz area, which is the frequencies where you can hear the bass on small speakers, which is also important, of course.
Okay.
And to give it a little bit more, like also punchy feel, it's nice to use the filter envelope also, which makes the filter start up here and then goes down quickly. And we have to introduce the envelope to the filter right here. I'm going to put it in a little bit, and then I have to take the frequencies down. Then it's going to sound like this. Let me take it down and put it in. This is about
zero envelope. Oh.
We have the attack now in. So let me quickly show you. I make just a simple bass line. This is too high, I guess. I just make it really simple, like let's say 3 notes. It here and here, like this, and then I still have the screens here in the way.
So there's a few kids out there saying, "Oh God, that's gonna take me a whole week to actually go through these steps." A few kids there saying, "Guys, I know. I also think that it's gonna take us longer than it takes Frankie, but rest assured, we have the video forever." So
yeah, and it's much more in detail, of course, in the masterclass. This is
yes.
Because I actually want to show it, of course, as much as possible. That's why I make it. But you can see I didn't do much actually now with the synthesizer, and I have a good bassline sound. Actually, you see the notes that I played here. When I play it together with the kick drum, it sounds like this.
It sounds so D-Nox Beckers already, man.
And what's missing, of course, this because the kick and the bass are on the same frequency, which is a problem. So these two instruments always need a sidechain compressor, which is actually that when the kick hits, that the bass gets pushed away, so that the kick.
So one works when the other one is not working.
Exactly.
So are you gonna use a compressor and a gate, or just a native compressor?
Going to use the Ableton compressor here. You can put it open here, and you have the sidechain button.
Yep.
The input that I choose, of course, it's now called the operator still, and then it actually should already work. You know, so it's really hard, but just a little bit. Oops. Okay, so then you have a bassline and the kick already, and it's just out of the operator. But it's Ableton actually, when you start, what Chris was talking about also before, when you start thinking about really outside of the box, it's really like that you can create any sound from any sound in this program. For example, of course, we always like a lot to work with samples, and that's also why we decided to give you guys sample packs with not just samples, stuff that we chose and that we really used, because it's hard to find the stuff that really works inside of, I don't know, thousands of hi-hat samples or whatever, you know, but it's basically when you use a sample in Ableton, you can actually let me see here. We have,
you can actually convert that sample into MIDI, right?
No, that's actually, you can do that also. You can convert every audio into MIDI and the other way around also. But that's another story that we can show maybe in a later class for masterclass people. What I wanted to show here is, let me see, where is the masterclass project here? Let's say here I have a sample. It's a hi-hat. Yeah, it's just a simple hi-hat.
Yeah.
I opened it here. So I now want to show, which actually sounds impossible. So I want to add now like a second bass line on this bass line that we have, let's say. And I actually can create a bass line out of this hi-hat. It's the easiest thing is also in Ableton, you just open a MIDI channel, and I want to put this hi-hat now into a sampler. in all the other software, you need to open a sampler and then you need to look for the things. But here's just, you take the sample, put it into the MIDI channel, and the sampler is there already. And it doesn't usually look like this, that you have all these macro controls already with the transpose, detune, sustain, whatever you have for the sample. This is something that I actually set up for myself because I like to have these options already here in the controller. This is also something that we show in the masterclass, how really to make your own.
In the beginning, when you're setting up the workflow.
Yeah, so that you always have this, when you open up a sample, and always have the controls already that you like to have there. That makes life actually easier. Yeah, but now let's
guys, this is something that I really should say to all the kids out there, to all the people out there. In the masterclass, one of the things that I was amazed is how you guys help and show on how to set up a proper workflow, you know, on Ableton, and how to assign the things that they're gonna use and to set up a proper workflow. And this is something that is so hard, you know. You get people do a lot of courses out there that sometimes teach them how to use the software, but like not necessarily how to create a kick drum or a bass line or a melody, for example. And maybe they'll show the workflow, but not necessarily on how to set up a nice and neat workflow the way that you guys did with the first few videos of the masterclass. So I think this is a really, really strong and valid point to remember, because, you know, I spent a few minutes there and I honestly wasn't able to do everything because I wanted to check all the videos. You know, it was already like midnight when I got my password. So you know, but I was really amazed by how that whole process of setting up things before you actually jump into work in the masterclass. So I think that's something really, really good.
Yeah, it's so nice to arrive in your office and everything is organized and clean, right? And the same we thought we show you guys. And it takes you lose maybe too much time. Every channel you open and you look for the right equalizer and the right compressor. So it's nice to save your settings the way you like, make your own default, or use the one that we give you with this masterclass. And it saves you a lot of time. And
that's the most important thing, just to focus more on the creative process when everything else is going smooth. You know, that's benefits a lot.
Yeah, Ableton is already the fastest software of those that I know, between Logic and Cubase and Ableton. But you can make it even faster. And yeah, so now you can go ahead.
Yeah, so the crazy task that we now have a hi-hat here. Can I play it? No, it's too deep. That's the hi-hat. And now I want to actually create a bass line out of it, which sounds impossible. But the thing is, you can, if you go like really deep inside of this sample, somewhere, wherever in the middle here, you go in and you put on this loop function. Let me show you. You snap out and you make the loop. Always, you hear the length, you make it small. So you go from, well, it goes like this, of course. But if this frequency of the loop goes into the audible area, it means that the frequency is like a frequency that we also can hear. You actually create a new oscillator with just a really small part of the sample. You know, you can go really small, like this.
Wow.
Yeah. So you have, let's say you have this. And this, of course, you can now also play in different tunes, and you can put a filter on it, and you play it deeper.
My God.
And you have like right here.
Oh, wow, dude.
And then you go, okay, I want to give it more texture with the filter, which I showed also before, that the filter has also like an envelope here, and you put this envelope a little bit on it, and it's really interesting.
My God.
And it's still just a hi-hat, and I didn't do also that much. And the thing is, but of course, this small thing from the hi-hat that we took now, we don't know if it's really in tune actually, because it was just some random waveform that I created by myself. But you also, for this, you have in Ableton, you have this little plugin just called Tuner. You put it after that, and then you just play any note. It doesn't matter what note you play, just a note, and then you see it's not really
you see which note is in.
It's I don't know. I play it actually on my normal keyboard where I press the letters. I don't need connected, but it doesn't matter. I just go with the fine tune here and put it up that it's in the middle. So now it's in E, and it's right. So and to show the other, could I put this away? So now I just, for example, take what we played from the operator, the bass. And I take the same MIDI information, drag it over here. It's probably going to be in the wrong note. It's going to sound like this now. I think this one is one too low. I think. Let me see. Together. We have two bass lines that play together. And yeah, the second one is coming from a hi-hat.
All native, guys.
And then last but not least, I want to quickly show also, which I think most of the masterclasses actually don't offer, that we provided our, as we said already, our own little sample pack with
I was also gonna say that I've received some of the samples already, and I've been going through some of them. It's just amazing, the stuff that is in there. And guys, just so you know, during the masterclass, you have, Chris and Frankie are gonna be there, and they go each module one video. So one video they're gonna teach us how to do a kick drum, then the next one bass line, then the next one percussion, snares, melody. So each of them in one video. So what we see now, we're gonna see over there.
And I would like to say that also us in the studio, we never use a synthesizer to create our kick drums. At least
I'm actually shocked, Chris. I honestly, I saw some of this stuff there, but to just go around and tweak some of the native stuff in Ableton and come up with that is, it's really amazing.
Yeah,
the kick drum is. Sorry, the kick drum is it's quite a philosophy. It's probably one of the most talked over sample. Which kick drum do you use, and so on and so on. Did you find the right kick drum? You have the kick drum of your life, and we have a few of those, and we share them with you. But I have to say that how long we make music now together? 15 years, 16 years?
Something like that, yeah.
And how many times we have been using the same 5 kick drum samples that we trust and believe in 100%.
Yeah, that's true. So there are a few kick drum samples from us that we really know that just work. Even if I try new ones, we sometimes always go back to this old kick drum that we used a lot of times because it just, especially when you hear it in the club, it sits right in the mix and stuff. And that's actually, even if you have like so many kick drum samples out there, but to find the really right ones is quite hard. And yeah, so we're happy to share a few with you. So same.
Yes. That's what I was gonna ask. Are any of these powerful and effective kick drums within the pack? But I think you already answered that question. Some of them are there probably, and I think you also said something that is really important: to trust the gear. The gear in this case, to trust your creation, but also to know what works in the dance floor. Because you guys there, and sometimes you're in a different party, but then you hear other fellow producers and DJs playing that particular track, and you're in the dance floor, and you're like, whoa, this is it. Probably you guys look at each other like, yeah, this is it. I think this track is, it's a work well done. So to be able, and for us to be able to have that sort of tool, it's something that is, it's unseen, unseen and unheard of. It's really gonna create a lot of opportunities for a lot of us out there. They are, studying and trying to get to like a more punchy and more clear and effective sounds.
Yes. So let me quickly show to finish it up here about the sample pack and the hi-hats, and also, as I said already, how simple and easy for drum sounds this drum rack actually is. So I'm going to open up in a new MIDI channel and then back to the Ableton instruments where we started. There's this drum rack, which we put on the channel. And then you have like a lot of slots here where you just can put drum sounds. And then if you go actually to our sample pack that you get with included in the masterclass, where is it? Here. So you see where there's claps, hi-hats, closed, open, kicks, percussion.
Yep, all of them. Label 9.
A closed hi-hat, but I actually don't want to really decide which one I'm going to take. So I'm just going to take all of them and put them into this drum rack, and they're all there. It's very simple. And you can see it here. They're all now here, the different. And if you make an empty MIDI channel now here, you have also, you can see make it a little bit bigger. Here's all the hi-hats, the different ones. And now it's something important where I want to talk, where we started also, how to think about music, because especially with the drumming, I think a lot of producers go the easy way because they don't know different. Because a lot of times you think, oh, I'm going to make a hi-hat. What kind of hi-hat I'm going to make? I'm going to make just a off-hat, like everybody knows. Or it's going to be 16 notes, like tick, 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 tick. But beside that, there are many people don't have many variations. But it's important already in this step not to think about what hi-hats are used in the past in other tracks. It's important to look for the music that we have. And of course, we don't have much, but what we have is. So what I hear, like
this is something that I get stuck at as well, like hats, for example. I use that, one in, one off sort of thing, like that's.
So the thing is, what we hear now is the rhythmic of dun 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 dun. So the rhythmic is ta 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 ta. So I want to hear this somehow in my hi-hat. So
okay.
You start with this actually. I just take whatever hi-hat. I'm going to decide later which one I really want to take. I'm going to start with the first one. I'm going to make this pattern, this rhythmic pattern, which is the same rhythm than the bass line. I'm going to draw it here with the hi-hat. Make it like a short loop. Wait. My mouse is a little bit. So this is just like this is what I want to hear. This is just the rhythmic of the head. It would sound like a. But still, especially in our D-Nox Beckers track, we like it when things are rolling a little bit more. So I just try to fill up the free spaces, but the ones that I'm going to put here, I'm just going to make way lower in the volume so that you have like a dynamic inside of this hi-hat melody. Mm-hmm. So it's still playing now all the 16 notes, but it's putting the accents on this motive that's actually played by...
So you're changing the velocity?
Yeah, I'm changing the velocity, and this dun 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 are the loud hi-hats, and the other ones are more quiet. So it's going to sound like this.
Oh.
Dun, 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 dun. And you can go even further when you think like, okay, this three, I want even more accent in it. Go to another hi-hat. Copy it.
So you kind of duplicate them in a high octave.
No, it's like each note is a different sample. That's the thing now.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was going to show now, that the samples are kind of working, because I just chose whatever sample now. I'm going to mark them all, and just with the arrow up and arrow down, I can transpose them. And it's going to sound different, but also, you're going to see more techno, maybe, go on up.
Yes.
And actually, as you can see, no matter where I go, it always sounds kind of right, which is the thing that we really carefully chose all these samples. And and even when it's just a hi-hat, it's important to always think in the context of the track, what rhythmic elements are already there. And I can.
That was a big demonstration of what you can actually do with, a bunch of samples that are going to be coming with the class, and you can actually use native stuff. That's amazing. I was actually quiet for a few seconds here thinking, man, that is crazy.
All right. So yeah, so far to this Ableton. Much more, of course, inside the masterclass.
Yes, I mean, yep. Go ahead, please.
Now that you were just mentioning our masterclass, I think it's a good moment to present the way it looks, and also to explain a bit about the chapters, about what we did, and so you have a feeling of what you're going to be able to buy tomorrow.
So, can you see that here?
Yep.
Kind of.
Just the heads. Yep. Now we can.
Yeah, better. So this is basically on my quite small laptop screen how it's gonna look like.
So for those that gonna buy the masterclass, they will buy a personal access login, which allows you to access anytime you want, as often as you want. You can stream every chapter separate. You don't need to watch the whole video from the beginning to the end just to find something. It's all splitted in a really nice way. And Frankie's going to show you this now. There's like, I don't know how many modules, I forgot already, but...
it's 8 modules, which is like the basic structure that we actually thought about before, how we want to set up this masterclass. And it starts, of course, with just an introduction where we talk a lot about our history, where we came from, how we met, and how the whole D-Nox Beckers story actually started. And stuff
that was great, by the way. I love the part of the vinyls and how...
I don't know how many people know, but Frankie is a real musician, and I have never had the patience and the time to study to play an instrument. I spent my time in becoming a DJ and mixing vinyls at home and buying records and collecting music. This is my thing, but this is also why I know more or less how I want a track to start, to progress, and to end. So
yeah. I think this is where the beauty of the chemistry between you both happens. You know, the balance, the elements. Like one of you is, like you said, you're a DJ and you always like think about how the dance floor is going to react. And, you know, the other one is musician, and the musician wants to play and create melodies and keep it going. And so I guess there's a balance to it, which is probably one of the secrets for the D-Nox and Beckers recipe.
Yeah.
And it's something that we are gonna be a masterclass as well, you know, in the module 6, which is arrangement. And this is something that a lot of us get stuck, you know, like we create a lot of things, and, you know, a lot of producers out there create lots of things and lots of channels. But then when it comes down to extending the track, arranging it, that's when the challenge starts sometimes, to keep it interesting. You know?
Yeah, we have also a few videos. It's about the preparations for the arrangement, also to name everything proper, to have some order, and then from the introduction to basic arrangement, and also have a focus video on the break, which is in many tracks is of course a very important part of the track, which sometimes needs a little bit more focus.
Yeah, I mean the break plays a big role in a especially in a dance floor track. You know, that's the moment where people are like, okay, what is gonna come now? You know, what's the melody? What's the vocal? What is the particular thing that's gonna make us like, wow? You know, I think any dance floor track needs to have that in the process of break and drop.
Yeah, that's right. That's a very important building tension part of any track, especially in club context. Then, it's a little bit about mastering, how to get your tracks loud enough, fat enough that you can play them out in the club, of course. And also something, then it's a section that's called extras, where we thought, I think that many people want to know, because when I look tutorials or whatever from other people, what I'm also interested in is what other VST synths and what other VST plugins actually we use that are not inside Ableton. How we use them and why we use them, and it's a little bit more like tech talk actually about all the gear inside the computer that we use. And then it's a special last chapter about clipping inside Ableton, which I don't want to get into. It's a little bit too complicated. You have to watch it.
Yeah, I mean, process when you combine all these items, and all these modules, we're definitely gonna come out of it with, you know, a fair bit of knowledge and instruction to go out there and do what we want to do. But, you know, I think one of the main items that I think that we talked about, and I'm really like, wow, it's the part of the creation and the track. I think this is really like the cherry of the ice cream in the whole masterclass pack. You know, it's like, wow, now we're gonna get down to business. You know, so I think that's what, for me, as soon as I saw, it's like, wow, this is worth it, everything, the whole experience.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's a lot. It's like I think it's more than 6 hours of content actually. So we go really into detail in any of these modules, and yeah, as I said,
but we kept it simple, so each of you will understand it clearly. And I'm pretty sure this will take you to somewhere else. So you will be able to finish a track. You will be able to make it sound good. As Frankie said, we have a chapter only for mastering, and it's not a little bit, as he said, it's actually quite complex. But the way it's explained, it's so simple that even you at home will be able to master your own track. At least the way, you know, it gives you the feeling that you can make your track sound good, and you don't need to send it out to some mastering studio and spend another $50 just for mastering. And it was very important because Frankie does this always. He masters our tracks so we can play them on the next weekend or on the next event.
That's something I was going to say. You know, in the real life out there, and I've seen my fellow friends and producers doing that, you know, like finishing a track and actually going like, okay, I'm going to play this tonight. You know, I'm just going to play it tonight. So I think when you actually look into that, that's the real deal. And, you know, and the track is there, the track is fresh. It has, the whole process has just happened, and it's got to be it now. You got to drop it now, because I think that if that track doesn't get played tonight, things will never be the same. That's how it feels, you know.
That's actually the shitty situation with the pandemic now, that we don't have the chance actually to try our tracks, you know. That also sometimes a little bit part of the process, that you hear things in the club, or you know, the reactions that you didn't expect, you know. This part is unfortunately missing now a little bit.
I mean, yes, I know that, you know, that plays a big part in the whole process, to actually test it out, the things, and interact with people. And this is something that unfortunately we are unable to do. But like we said in the beginning, let's make this an opportunity to create more and more, because once the dance floors are clear and everyone is, you know, I think there's going to be a lot of great music coming out. And especially, you know, with all the young and fresh producers out there, with the information that, you know, we are being able to get from all different sources and classes and videos and master classes like this one. So I think this is what really, really is the bigger picture of importance right now, you know, to be able to like go and create and get our minds away from everything that is happening.
Yeah.
Use your time, and this is the moment. Yeah. Well, I'm studying a lot, even with this masterclass. I'm not near to Frankie, and I can't take the airplane every week, especially now. So I'm using this masterclass even for myself, producing here at home alone, because even after sitting 15 years together with Frank, there's so many things that you miss out, because Frank or whoever has his studio works fast. Everyone has his way to jump into things without explaining every time. And then you get distracted by the time you do other things. So maybe you look to the left, to the right, and then it's already something happened that you missed. And now I was sitting here producing on my own, and I remember Frankie was speaking about some hidden tools in the Max for Life pack that comes with Ableton, for example, using an LFO on top of a hi-hat to make it sound more alive. And actually, I thought he was going to show us something of the hidden features in Max for Life, or the packs that come with Ableton, to also to show you that it's so there's so much that you get only with Ableton to take you the fear from, you don't need to invest in plugins, in hardware. And I don't know what Frankie says about this, but
I think it's more than clear now, especially with the introduction that you guys gave. You know, just going there, creating amazing sounds, clear and powerful ones. You know, and I was able, we were all able to like, okay, this sounds like D-Nox Beckers. And a lot of us out there think like, man, imagine the studio of these guys, how many, you know, that modular wall of synthesizers and nah. You know, like things in life can be much simpler than you think. And I think it's one of the things that the proximity that we're going to be able to have, like, for example, the first batch, right? And this is something that we need to say for the kids out there who are applying to get into the course. The first batch of students are going to be able to interact with you guys in real time, you know, and this is something that, whoa, the same way that I am now, you guys are going to be able to be as well. So this is something that, you know, each of us will have a different doubt and, you know, a question about how you guys do a particular process. And so I think this is something really amazing in the process to be able to actually, okay, sit down here and interact with D-Nox Beckers, real life, real deal, you know, once they actually get into work with within the masterclass and the sample packs. So I think this is something that, you know, the first batch will be able to get, and maybe the second and the third, God knows. I don't think so, because, you know, life is going to eventually move on and you guys are going to be back on the road as we all hope and expect.
Yeah. I mean, you need to understand that we can't produce with 6,000 possible students. It's just too much. You know, we want to be also spend the time.
Keep the quality, keep the standards of quality, you know,
exactly. So it's a bit limited actually, yes. And so the first enrollment, people that signed up and make their decision to buy tomorrow or after tomorrow and the day after, they will have that feature. We're going to have 4 extra studio live production online sessions with you guys to take away all the doubts, to show you even more features, more tricks. And then you just said the sample pack. But then there's also, for those that like to work on Diva, we do. And we give out a huge collection of presets for Diva.
That's Yuhi, guys. That's Yuhi Diva. That's a VST from the Yuhi company. Amazing one. And I saw some of the stuff being written there. So there you go. Another preset pack that comes within the masterclass pack.
Then Frankie will share his Ableton default setting, which is the way he opens his Ableton, and it comes with all the equalizers and compressors on each channel already ready for you to use. And something very important, there's 2 more things which I would like to let you know, is that the people of the first enrollment have the chance also to download the remix stems of the original track, which was produced during the masterclass.
There you go. That last but not least, boom. There you go.
Yeah. So you can send me your remix. We will share the deadline, and the 3 best remixes I will release alongside the original track on my label Sprout Music, still in 2020, towards the end of the year shall be. But also for all the other ones that maybe don't want to do the remix and they just want to show me the tracks.
That's a connection.
Yeah.
That's a connection, that potential connection between you guys and being able to hear the tracks. Yep.
We are here for you, and we're going to share all this because we want to give this away. Now it's the time to do. And something that you don't buy maybe in other master classes is that, well, since we run record labels and since we have this experience of many years.
Yeah, the reference that you guys are and what you represent represent within the musical scene, globally speaking. I'm saying this because I've seen you guys in Australia. I've seen you guys play in Brazil. I've seen you guys playing all over the place. So I'm saying, as someone, as I said, as a big fan, who has been able to follow you guys in some crazy festivals and places where I realize what you represent. So to actually have that sort of proximity with you guys, giving that sort of feedback, man, I think that is priceless, to be honest. That is something that is priceless. And some of us will be lucky enough to have that moment, to be in the class, to have that feedback real time, live, and to actually have the proximity of sending tracks to, maybe, who knows, get into a big label and not a big, I won't say big, but I would say respected in a serious one, because big is big is something like perspective wise. Sprout is one of the most prominent labels out there that work with this kind of music. So I think that's the big point there, the big turning point for some kids that might be able to get there and sit down with you guys and like, hey, I think your music can actually be released as a remix for D-Nox and Beckers.
I always have liked to help new producers out there. I mean, I remember, I don't know how many years ago, but I was the first one who released music of Victor Ruiz or Alex Stein, just to name a few. And so it's a platform. My label and me and the connections I have and the way we like to give that feature from us to you. And
there's a standard. I'm saying this because I've been trying to show Chris some of the stuff that I've been trying to make for a few weeks and months now. And there's a standard. There's a level of guidance where, hey, maybe you should do this in a track, because I think that's where you're gonna get like you said, you have released some of the artists that are doing so well nowadays, and back in the days they were still adjusting and getting prepared for the future that was going to come along. And I think that sort of guidance, again, is priceless. It's like we're talking about things that are coming from the heart and soul. So I think the investment here is just like a second picture thing.
Yeah. And
yeah, I also want to add, because now to the first thing with this live chats that we're going to do with the people who order on the first batch. It's like when we thought about this masterclass, as I said, we wanted to make it as good as possible, but also we felt like no matter what we're going to do, we're never going to satisfy or like answer any question of any individual person. But then we came with the idea with when we do these personal chats with the people, then actually we have the possibility to get quite close to really answering all the questions of everybody maybe that people have beside the stuff that's in the masterclass. And yeah, I think,
I mean, absolutely, it's just like it's an open, it's open the way. Like me, for example, I was dying to ask a few things about snare and claps, for example, but like, hey, it's in there, it's in the masterclass, you know what I mean? But and you guys are gonna have the chance to like, how you actually do that or this. So, I guess it's just gonna be a race now to see who's gonna be able to jump in and get in. But it's something that is really, really worth the $187 investment. You know what I mean? So that's a festival. I think that's a price for a ticket of one of the many festivals that we wanted to go this year. And that's just one of them. So like, get that money and put into a valid investment for good. So I think, that's looking to the prospect and the whole scope of the masterclass and the project itself. It's such I think you guys were really nice with the price as well. It's not a steep price and investment at all, considering all the knowledge shared and given within the class and the master in the course itself. So I think
maybe Frankie wouldn't mind to lower the volume in the video from the masterclass, which is in the background, and just play the video without sound so people can have an impression about the video quality, because we spent a lot of time and many weeks on producing this masterclass for you.
And one information why Frank is setting up, guys, Ableton Live is 90-day free trial at the moment. So if you wanna get moving and you wanna maybe invest in the class, but like maybe you don't have Ableton right now on your computer, Ableton Live is 90-day free trial at the moment. So you have it for 3 months, okay? Maybe it's the time for you to buy the course, invest it, see the real deal, done. Then you use it for 3 months and then maybe go after to buy the copy. But like, so 3 months, it's time enough for us to do lots of things. All right, just a valid and important information here, guys, to give the kids out there.
And something else we maybe forgot is that the video is available in English, but also in Portuguese, Spanish, and German subtitle. So
yeah, in this you actually have the Brazilian Portuguese subtitles there in this selection. So yeah, you have all these language subtitles.
Exactly. You choose and you just change them. If it was a video in Netflix, so very easy to handle.
As easy as Netflix. I was gonna say that, and functional as well. So there's a few people in Australia, Chris and Frankie, asking if it's gonna be open. Yes, it's going to be open as soon as the live is finished, because it's already Monday there in some of the other countries. So the release date is Monday. And so, yes, it's going to be released today for you guys, which is Monday. All right? There's a lot of anxious people out there.
For all the mates in Australia, for the Aussie mates.
That's a beautiful land.
I think the sale in Australia is supposed to start at 9 a.m., if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think it's going to start as soon as the live is finished. Something. I just got the message from the technical guys now. So it should be out really soon.
New Zealand is already able to buy. And then
Asian, whoever is Monday already is able to buy.
And yes, I think that's it pretty much. We would like to answer some of your questions now and see. I don't have my question window open here, but
I think there isn't much, I think it was, I'm actually checking at there wasn't really a technical, I think it's more about the conditions and pricing and release date. So I think we're really clear with that.
Yeah, I see most people are asking when the sale starts. So it's Monday. For everyone in the world, it's their Monday. Monday, you can join us.
Monday, the 14th of September.
Blue Monday.
Yes. Yeah, guys, I think it was really great. I mean, we could all have and I think the reason why people didn't ask much, it was because they were, gobsmacked by the knowledge given in like just a few minutes, and with native stuff. So I think we good for now, and I am, and as they are, really looking forward to get started and to see you guys over in the real live sessions of the next few weeks.
Yeah, I just saw some people asking where to buy which link. I think these are people that haven't even subscribed until now. We're going to share all the links with you now, again, through our social medias. It's very easy. Just get into it. Thank you.
Yeah, there's one of the technical guys just shared the link for the subscription. So just open on the comments and you'll be able to see and click and get into the page.
And one more question here. The course, actually, we use Ableton and some plugins, as we said before, Diva, but also the Repro one. Frankie, what was the other one? The bass synthesizer?
And Serum from ReFX. Yeah, that were basically the 3 out of Ableton things that we used. Everything else.
And just to mention, guys, you know, most of the plugins that you guys use within the masterclass that are not native, they don't cost a fortune. Just rest assured. I bought some of them, and they don't really cost a fortune. So, you know, I don't think there's anything to fear in that particular aspect.
It's for those that are already into the process of producing music. It's actually some kind of basic. No, we all have in some point to invest and buy some extra gear or plugins. But as we said before, this course is really made also for those that don't have. So don't be afraid. Everything is possible, and this is why we also showed you today how to use native Ableton plugins. So
yeah, real deal, like simple and straight up. And I think this is what the masterclass is also about. So I think everyone is gonna have a good surprise in that sense.
The third plugin is a Ray Pro 1, also from Urs Heckmann.
Yeah, same company.
Yeah, it's one of the questions. And what else? Yes, I will be checking the remixes together with Frank. We will share the deadline with you. I was thinking about 31st of October, which gives you about 6 weeks to write a remix. And the best 3 ones we will decide and then release them together with the original.
Exactly.
There's some guys already getting anxious about the deadlines and everything. That's gonna keep them. That's going to keep them hot on their toes, that's for sure.
Okay. So any more questions out here? Yes, I would like to come back to Rainbow as well. I'm sure we all would. Since
me too. Me too. I've been there 7 times. I've been to Rainbow Serpent 7 times, and I'd love to be back there.
They had 2 times to cancel. One about the forest burning in January, and then the fucking pandemic came around the corner.
Yes, we all wishing the best luck for them in the reconstruction of the scene over the next months and years.
Let's hope.
Okay, and yes, the link, we're going to share the link for those that have subscribed. They will receive an email when the masterclass is available to purchase. In Australia, I was told it's supposed to be 9 a.m., but I can be mistaken. Maybe it will be 10 or 11, but just stay tuned. It will be today.
Just grab a coffee, have a seat, and relax, Mike. We'll be out soon.
The remix doesn't need to be techno, since I actually don't release techno on my label Spra, but I release anything which I like. And you know, in Beatport we actually have many genres. So if you send me a new disco style or organic house version, anything good, I will release.
Anything that suits Sprout and the whole concept and idea behind it will be eligible. Just a question, important question as well, Chris and Frank. If the price would be unanimous, so the price would be $197 converted into the local currency, plus, of course, taxes and local exchange rates and things like that.
Okay, and there are questions here in the chat of the Zoom. Oh my God, it's so many. Who is going to help me here now?
I don't have it even open.
Ooh. So what is the total price? $197. The course is actually curso básico avançado. The course is actually, I would say, mid-range, you know, goes from basic stuff into more advanced stuff, you know. What is the price? How much costs in Brazilian? Vai ser aproximadamente 900 e poucos reais.
Menos de 1.000.
Menos de 1.000. Could you repeat the cost, please? $197, all right? Okay. So there's another question here. Was Ableton always the duo's weapon of choice? Did you use Logic or at any point of your career? I think you guys answered that as well.
Yeah, so I started. I started really back in the day.
The price, how much cost in Brasília?
Someone has a YouTube on at home.
Something is
yeah, check if you have YouTube playing at home. I had the same problem before.
No money to acquire less. All right. I think most of the questions were that. What is the space? Okay, first. Thank you very much. At any point of your career.
Oh, that's me. I did the mistake here, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So then. O curso vai ficar disponível por quanto tempo? How long the course will be available?
Yeah.
We have a window of sale for 3 days, September 14th to September 16th. Tomorrow until Wednesday.
So make sure you guys go subscribe and get on the bus to jump in, because it's only going to be 2 days. So tomorrow or today for Australia, New Zealand, and Asia, Monday 14th to Wednesday 16th of September.
Yeah, and
that is the first class.
Someone is asking if Ableton Standard is enough. Yes, if you have Ableton 10, this is totally enough. Yep. The rest we're gonna get, you're gonna get from us. We're gonna send you samples and sounds, and so you will be fine. And there's also a question about someone from Brazil. I think Brazilians have the opportunity to pay in quotes or in rates.
Yes, splitting, pagar dividido, pessoal, split the payments, which is a local thing that happens in Brazil. Então, pessoal do Brasil, vai ser quem tiver inscrito e não tiver aí que for selecionado para a primeira turma, que conseguir entrar na inscrição, vai ter a oportunidade de fazer o pagamento parcelado. All right?
Okay.
Guys, thank you very much. It was an amazing moment for me, and I think for everyone. You know, I'm still bugged in my head how Frankie did some of those things.
Baseline from a Hyatt. Make a baseline from a Hyatt. Oh my
yes,
God.
I guess you take us a while to process all of that, but it was just a little taste of what's coming tomorrow. So, you know, in the name of everyone and all the upcoming producers out there, thank you so much for your time and your efforts within this masterclass. It is amazing. I think
and if you have any more questions in the YouTube channel, we're going to be answering for a couple of more minutes. So please go to the YouTube channel, ask a question there. We help you. We're going to close down this Zoom session. Oh, yes.
All right, guys. So if you have any more questions, just hit Frankie and Chris up on the comments for the video. They're going to be there answering a few things for the next couple of minutes. And I hope everyone who's online is able to get it and to jump in.
All right. Thank you.
All right. See you guys.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye, everyone. Bye.